how is everyone today? It is time for another Plat'n that. We have Warhearted today. Warhearted is a veteran of trophy hunting with an account spanning back 15 years. However, their first Platinum trophy did not come for 3 years, with their first Platinum trophy being Portal 2. Now, Warhearted has amassed a total of 180 Platinum trophies in that time, so let's take a look at them, shall we? Okay, and to kickstart the list, we have half of 36 Fragments of Midnight, which Warhearted, I think that is a record. I think that is the only time we've never seen 36 Fragments of Midnight completed. But you do back this up with a impressive wombo combo of Alan Wake 1 and 2's Platinum trophies. No DLC done here. I need to do Alan Wake 2's DLC myself personally at some point. I haven't got round to that either, but I can attest for the Alan Wake 1 DLC being really not fun to play. We then have Alice Madness Returns, which is a fantastic game that I've actually only just noticed has DLC. I don't think I ever noticed this on some of the other lists, but that might be one you might be interested in going back and potentially cleaning up at some point, mate. We then have Alien Breed, followed by a double stack of one of my favourite games, Alien Isolation, which I saw in the Discord this morning, I believe it was. Alien Isolation 2 has been announced as being in development, which is so very exciting to me. I can't wait for that. That is one of my favourite horror games of all time, and as some of you guys I'm sure know, horror is one of my favourite genres, so that is awesome to see. We then have Angry Birds Trilogy here. You dabbled in it, you dipped your toes, and you dipped right back out. Arcade game series Pac-Man is here, followed by only a couple Assassin's Creeds. Warhearted, we need to talk, mate. We need to discuss this. Why are there only 2 Assassin's Creed Platinums here? You know, I'm very disappointed, mate. I want to see you work on these, especially Syndicate here. That's an easy one to clean up, a relatively quick and painless one. The other 2 here, a little bit more painful, and obviously Assassin's Creed 3 has unobtainable multiplayer trophies on the PS3 due to server shutdowns, unfortunately. We then have Astro's Playroom, which is another one you've sort of dabbled in. This might be one that's worth going back and cleaning up, especially with the DLC trophies finally all having been released. That might be a nice one to go in and wrap up at some points. Nice one to boost the completion rate as well. Back to the Future here. This is the Telltale Back to the Future. You smashed out all of the episodes to my knowledge. I believe there is 5, and as you can see, most of these take just a couple of hours. This is very early Telltale, sort of around the same time they did things like Jurassic Park and the Lost and CSI games. Remember the Lost game? That's a throwback right there. We then have the Arkham games here. You do have the Platinum in Arkham Knight, which is a very impressive one to get. I remember this one having so many Joker or Riddler puzzles rather, which were not particularly fun to go for, especially some of them where you've got to scale the Batmobile up and down buildings to open doors and things like that. I remember those being particularly painful, but you have smashed that one out. In terms of the rest of these here, Asylum might be a good one to clean up. That one's not too difficult besides some of the combat challenges such as Shockin' or Extreme. That one might be a good one to tick off the list here, good percentage booster you might say. But the rest of these are quite tricky, and obviously Origins is another one that has unobtainable trophies, so that one's a very difficult one to tick off the list there. We also have the Batman Telltale game. I believe in fact I know that there is a second one, I believe it's called The Enemy Within, which might be a nice one to do. I remember it being pretty good for a Telltale game as well. You then have the Platinum in Battlefield 1, followed by most of the trophies in Battlefield 4. I could imagine that the quarantine mode is some of the things that you are missing. That mode is awful. You then got a bit of Battlefield 3 here, the Platinum in Hardline and Battlefield 4, so you're a Battlefield guy, which is always nice to see. Battlefield 5 here as well. Obviously, Hardline's another one that you couldn't get the 100% in, sadly, due to some of the server closures on some of the game modes and things like that. We then have Beyond Two Souls here, followed by, I know Rick in particular is going to be excited to see this one here. We've got a full stack, besides some of the things like Japanese stacks, of course, but we have a full series completion here of Bioshock. We've got Bioshock 1 on the PS3, the PS4, same with Bioshock 2 and Bioshock Infinite, just without the DLC, which I don't particularly blame you for. I'm sort of gathering a picture that you might not necessarily be a DLC guy, which is obviously perfectly okay. A Platinum is still a completion. But these might be some other ones to go back and clean up. I know Bioshock 2, for example, has, in my opinion, one of the best DLCs ever in Minerva's Den. But most of the DLCs in these games are just combat mode stuff that isn't particularly great, especially Infinite. I don't like Infinite's DLCs. Burial at Sea is okay. I definitely don't get the hype that a lot of people sort of put in Burial at Sea, but it is pretty good. Just a bit lackluster in my opinion. We then get some Bloodborne here, full 100%. You know I love to see some Bloodborne represent here, and you smashed it out in just under 2 years, so congratulations there, mates. We then get some Blur, followed by, Blur is a super underrated racing game on the PS3 that I believe the servers are still technically up. They're a bit of a fiddle to sort of get going. I believe you've got to hit some DNSs and things like that to get it started. But once you're in, the trophies are still obtainable to my knowledge. Do let me know in the comments, of course, if I am very, very wrong there. We then get some Borderlands here with the first Borderlands as Platinum. I don't blame you for not doing the DLC in that one. That DLC is very rough. We then get some Borderlands 2, followed by Borderlands 3, which you sort of dabbled in. You got 19 trophies in both of them, which is a kind of a cool number to see for both of them. But I don't particularly blame you for not completing, especially Borderlands 3. I have that 100% myself on the Symmetry account, and that was a task. We then get some Broken Age here, which is another game that's been on my my radar for years. I do know there's a few like challenge mode or maybe a speed run, I think, for a trophy, which can be a little bit tricky, but not too bad overall. You smash that one out in just shy of 10 months. We then get a little bit of Brutal Legend, which I've only just noticed is an ultra rare. Do let me know why Brutal Legend is an ultra rare Platinum. What's the challenge behind that, guys? We then get some Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition here. I love Bulletstorm. Very fast first-person shooter with a lot of emphasis on different types of ways you can kill enemies. It's good fun. Definitely an enjoyable one right there, with a lot of ultra-rare trophies tied to the challenge maps that really are not too bad. Really, the only hard thing about Bulletstorm, in my opinion, is probably the trophy where you need another player to amass score in the challenge mode. But there is a method of doing it over a tornado pit that is not too bad at all, really. We then get some Burnout Paradise twice. I do love to see the plat here. There is a lot of trophies in this game. It's kind of wild to think that the Platinum is only 64%, but it's a fantastic game. That's another one I might do a review after 100% sort of thing, review after completion on this at some point, which is a series I'm planning on bringing to the channel hopefully very soon. So do look out for that. I am looking forward to it personally. We then get a lot of Call of Duties here. Oh, that is a juicy stack of Call of Duties. I would like to see a couple of these bumped up, but they are fantastic to see here. We have Call of Duty Classic. Oh, chef's kiss. You did a fantastic job there, mate. We then get some Advanced Warfare. Did the Platinum, not the 100%. I don't blame you. The Exo Zombies in this is... It's pretty rough. I had my good friend Yuta, shout out to Yuta, carry me through most of those Easter eggs, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, but even still, some of it is very tricky. I do like that the first map, you do actually kind of have to do it yourself, because it is a bit of a pain to do with multiple players, so that one kind of makes you get good, but the other maps are definitely sort of get carried and hope for the best sort of thing. We then get some Black Ops here with Black Ops 1, 2, and 3. No Black Ops 4, I don't blame you. And no Cold War, actually. Cold War's one I would recommend if it wasn't for the squad trophy where you need like 16 players in a lobby. That's actually kind of difficult to pull off these days. But this is a fantastic stack here. We then get into the Modern Warfares. This Ghost as well. Like everyone else in the Call of Duty community, we'll just ignore Ghost for now. Get into some Modern Warfares here. We have the rebooted Modern Warfare. One trophy's missing. That's for the Spec Ops mode, which, I mean, it exists. You can do the Spec Ops mode in this one in about an afternoon, but it's not particularly fun. I don't remember it being particularly challenging, besides just you need 4 players. I remember myself and a good friend of mine just getting, I believe, 2 or 3 randoms and not having any issues at all. So that's definitely an option for you if you did want to get that full 100% at some point, Warhearted. We then have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. This is another fantastic one right here. Obviously, this cut the multiplayer and the Spec Ops trophies, but it is still absolutely worth a play. This is another one I'm looking forward to returning to at some point, hopefully in the near future. Modern Warfare 3, still hoping we get a campaign remaster of this one the same way we did Modern Warfare 1 and 2. Still holding out hope on that. I've got my fingers crossed. We then have World at War. It's another one I would absolutely love to have a remaster of. And we round the list off with the most underrated Call of Duty. That's a hill I will die on. Call of Duty World War II. Another game I would love to do a 100% review on at some point. We then have Call of Juarez Gunslinger, followed by the Cartel. I believe it's the Cartel's the modern day one that really kind of tainted the series. It just killed it dead. But Gunslinger and I think it's just Call of Juarez is the first one. A lot of fun. They are very, very good, to be fair. Carnivores is a game I've never heard of in my life, but it looks like there's a T-Rex in it, so that sounds interesting. Do let me know what that is actually about, because that looks kind of cool. We then have Catherine Twice here on the PS3 and the PS4. These are actually genuinely quite difficult platinums here, hence the 2.57 and 1.91% platinum trophy rarities respectively here, followed by a tiny bit of City Skylines. There are 120 trophies in this game. Touch wood. We've seen the last of DLCs being added to the first game, and they work on a port that actually works for City Skylines 2 at some point. We then get Closure, followed by Contrast. Control is next. Control's a fantastic game. It's set in the same universe as Alan Wake. This is another one I have had installed for the last couple months and gone, I really should get round to this, and then don't. But I adore this game. Relatively easy platinum. The DLCs, again, much like the Alan Wake DLCs, aren't as good. I remember the first one, the one that's set in the salt mines, being very mid. But the second one was pretty good. The one that was tied more to Alan Wake was pretty enjoyable, actually, and I'm looking forward going back and playing it, having now played Alan Wake 1 and 2, to sort of understand a bit more what's going on, I guess. That'll be definitely something that I'm looking forward to doing with that DLC at some point here. Obviously, the Platinum is not too difficult these days. I do believe there is an exploit mode, or not an exploit, accessibility mode where you can make yourself invincible and one-shot kill enemies, and I think have unlimited abilities and all that sort of stuff. So if you are struggling in the game, you can do that sort of stuff, and Warhearted, that might be something you just want to do, just to smash out those DLCs, because I think if you can't be killed, you could probably smash out both DLCs in like 2-3 days. We then have, what else do we have? We've got Counter-Strike here, 1 trophy, you dipped your toe in, you dipped your toe out. This is also, I believe, the realm of you being a trophy hunter. As I said previously, the account is 15 years old, but the first 3 years you weren't really a trophy hunter per se. You might have got a few, but it was really after that bug of Portal 2 that really kick-started you into the hobby, mate. We then have Creeks, which I believe is your most recent platinum. Creeks is kind of a puzzle game. Is Creeks your most recent platinum? I can't remember. I think it was. I'll have to correct myself if I am wrong. We then have Crimson Land, followed by Crysis 3. I don't blame you for missing out on these. Cuphead here, as well as another one with a very, very difficult platinum trophy there. But 13 trophies, not bad at all, my friend. Dante's Inferno, unfortunately the 100% is now unobtainable due to server closures, but the game itself is a 10 out of 10, probably one of my favourite games on the PS3, so I do love to see that platinum trophy right there. I'm still holding out hope of a remake for this, but probably not going to get one at this point. We then have some Dark Souls here with Scholar of the First Sin and Dark Souls 3. You've played through the game, you've got some faction trophies, you've probably seen some endings, but I'm assuming a lot of what's left is the Covenants and the rings and the weapons and the things like that. We then have Datura, followed by Days Gone. You've got the Platinum, you probably don't have the New Game Plus, and you definitely don't have the challenge modes here. Days Gone's fantastic. I love the game. It probably goes on a little too long for my liking. The final act, I remember thinking I was at the end of the game, and then discovering there was a whole, another third of the overall map left to explore. That was kind of overwhelming, but the game itself is fantastic. Shout out to Boozer in the game. Fantastic character. We've got some Dead Island here with the Platinums in Dead Island 1, Dead Island 2, and Dead Island Riptide here. All great games in their own right. I think in their own right, I think Riptide is probably the worst of the three, I would say. I did really like Dead Island 2. I thought Dead Island 2 was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And then Dead Island 1 is pretty decent too, but pretty buggy. The DLC, I believe, for Dead Island 1 is very just sort of challenge map related, and then Dead Island 2, of course, is some more story-based DLCs, which I've heard are quite good. I need to go and do them myself at some point. We then have Dead Nation, followed by quite a lot of Dead Rising here with the first game. You're only missing a couple of trophies. I believe that's probably going to be the 7-Day Survivor trophy that you're missing there, followed by Dead Rising 2, the 100% in this 3 times, and then Dead Rising 4 with, because I believe Dead Rising 3 still is, or at least it was on launch, an Xbox One launch title exclusive. I remember it being, it was okay, it was decent. And then of course Dead Rising Deluxe Edition is the one that you are currently working on, which is, of course, is the remaster, and I've heard fantastic things about it. It's one that I'm kind of eyeing up myself as sort of a Kickstarter to getting myself back into this series, because Dead Rising 4, was dreadful. We then have Dead Space here with the first game, 100%. The remaster is 100% as well. I do love to see that. That's probably going to be the next Platinum that I work on myself. The Plat Club game for this month is Dead Space in the Discord, so if you do want to join in on a community-based Platinum, join us. I look forward to seeing you there. It's been good fun so far. I know some people are really enjoying Dead Space so far. The remaster is probably... If I counted remasters in my games of the year, and I don't, but it would have been my favourite game of last year if I did. Dead Space 2, 100% and 300%. I love to see those DLCs in there, and I love to see Dead Space 2. Fantastic work there, Warhearted. Even Extraction is good to see. I do love a bit of Dead Space Extraction here. Sorry, I just realised I had scrolled off the screen. That is an amateur move. I do apologise. I've been resetting up my my studio, my game space, and so I'm not used to having a monitor out to this side. That I've kind of got a monitor as well as the one in front of me. I used to just have 2 in front of me, so it's a bit different. I'm getting used to it. But so don't pick on me, I'm fragile. We then have Deadpool here, 100%, I love to see it, followed by some dabblings in Death Stranding, Demon's Souls, Destiny, Detroit Become Human, and Dirt 3, and then of course, Disc Jam. Some of these would be cool to see clean up. Potentially Detroit Become Human is one that I wouldn't do myself, but could be a good one to see clean up. Demon's Souls is another one here. A lot of that can be done in single player still. I know the servers are closed on that now. And of course, Death Stranding is not everyone's cup of tea, but 61 trophies would be a cool one to see picked off here. We then have the Dishonored games here, so you're a Dishonored man, I love to see it. We have the Platinum in Dishonored on the PS4, and it looks like, I believe that might be some of the challenge trophies as well. We then have just the Platinum in Dishonored on the PS3, followed by Dishonored 2's 100% and Death of the Outsider. Obviously, I have a Project Platinum on Dishonored on this channel. I do love the game, and I do plan on cleaning up the rest of the series at some point. even those Dishonored 1 DLC trophies that I'm not looking forward to. We then have DMC Devil May Cry, followed by Don't Starve, a little bit of Doom, a little bit of Doom twice here, and Doom 3 as well, one trophy in Dragon Age, and then a bit of Drive Club just to top off the dabblings here. We then get some Dying Light here. Now, Dying Light is how I met Warhearted myself. Warhearted tried to help me get one of the glitch trophies that I have in Dying Light 2, the one for getting all of the windmill fast travel points. Sadly, it didn't work, but mate, I still appreciate to this day that you went out of your way to try and get me those trophies. I was able to essentially join his playing session as he unlocked a windmill, and we hoped that that might tick over my counter, but alas, it wasn't the case. And then I think you joined my session to see if you could get some of the bugged collectibles for you. If you don't know, Dying Light 2, very, very buggy on launch. And I think we were able to get you some of them, but not all of them from memory. We then have Eat Lead, The Return of Matt Hazard, which you smashed out in 6 days, followed by a tiny bit of Elden Ring. I'm surprised that's probably the one I'm most surprised of so far. That's one I wouldn't mind seeing you clean up, mate. Followed by Endling Extinction is Forever, which is a fantastic survivor game. You could smash this out in about 3-4 hours. It is fantastic, though. This is another one I would highly recommend jumping back into at some point. Warhearted, really, really good one. And it'd be a good completion. I know there's a lot of golds in there that would, of course, boost the percentage up significantly. Enslaved Odyssey to the West, super underrated, super beloved PS3 game that definitely needs some more love. Some Entwined, followed by Ether 1, which you haven't actually earned a trophy on, so this might be one you just might want to knock off the profile list at some point potentially, followed by a little bit of Evil West, which you started at the start of the year, which I believe is when it went on PS Plus. Kind of very fun, actually. I like Evil West. It reminded me a lot of the Gears of War games on like the Xbox 360 back in the day. There's kind of some fun sort of mechanics there. The over cover shooting and stuff like that definitely gave me some nostalgia for that sort of style genre. We then get a little bit of Evolved, followed by a big smashing here of Fallout's here with Fallout 4's Platinum Trophy twice. Just the Platinum though, you haven't done any of the DLCs here. I would recommend Far Harbor. Far Harbor is actually legitimately a fantastic DLC. The rest is pretty meh. Take it or leave it kind of thing. We then have quite a lot of Fallout 76 here. You have the Platinum and some of the DLC trophies here, which is interesting because some of those DLC trophies are very, very grindy. We then have Fallout New Vegas. This is another one we've just done the Platinum. Those DLCs are getting harder to get your hands on, but they are still pretty good. I remember enjoying New Vegas's DLCs quite a bit. I don't think they were as good as Fallout 3's. Fallout 3's got some fantastic ones there, but the base game's definitely better than Fallout 3. We then get a beautiful stack of Far Cry's here with what have we got here? We got Far Cry 2, followed by Far Cry 3 on the PS3, which I believe. No, it's not unobtainable because you can do split screen, but there is multiplayer trophies in Far Cry 3, which is interesting. Blood Dragon you've dabbled in, followed by Classic, which is just the remaster of Far Cry 3, just without the multiplayer on the PS4. The Platinum in Far Cry 4 twice, which is one I really need to get onto while those trophies are still available to me. Far Cry 5, Far Cry 6, Primal, and New Dawn, which I believe is all of the Far Cries that have trophies tied to them, which is really cool to see here. We then get some Fight Night Champions, followed by some Final Fantasy, Flow, Fury, and Game of Thrones Telltale. A little bit of Ghosts of Tsushima, followed by Ghostbusters twice here with the video game. It looks like I believe you might have played through the story, but haven't really dabbled in much else. And then we get into another super impressive series completion here, actually. It's wigging me out. I do apologize if some of the games are off the screen for this video. I will dabble with it before the next Plat'n to sort of get the scaling correct so that I don't have to keep looking over to this monitor over here. But essentially we have God of War 1, God of War 2018, both 100%, God of War 2, God of War 3 twice, Ragnarok you've dabbled in. You earned some trophies a couple months ago but haven't really returned to. This is the only one actually that is not 100% here. You've got the rest of the series because here's the three PS3/PSP spin-off games. So that is a super completion. I would love to see Ragnarok picked off here, just so that you have that full completion. That is awesome to see here, mate. We then get a bit of Gran Turismo in 5 and 6, most of the trophies. These ones are very difficult. Getting some of the license plates and the gold medals is very tricky in these games, especially, of course, Gran Turismo 5, which I believe the servers are also closed for at least 5, but I also think 6 as well. We then get quite a bit of Grand Theft Autos here. With Grand Theft Auto 4, you've done some story stuff. I don't even think you've finished the story based on the percent here, but this would be another cool one to see go back to, potentially. We then get some Grand Theft Auto 5 with the Platinum on the PS4, and then a bit of dabbling, probably story completion, general playing around on the PS3. Obviously, the PS3 did come out a solid year before the PS4 version, I believe. That's certainly how I played the bulk of this game back in the day myself. It should be on the shelf somewhere there behind me as well. We then have San Andreas' Definitive Edition in 8 months. I think you're going to beat me, mate, because I think it's been on my account for 5 months, and I'm still chipping away at that 100%. They added a lot of stuff for the 100% in this one, and it's taxing. Some of that stuff is taxing. Getting all of the races and side missions and freight missions and package stuff is painful. All the horseshoes and clams in the ocean and things. But at least the game plays better than the original, which is reflected here by the fact that you have 7 trophies in the original and the full 100% in the remaster. They're also a lot less buggy these days, to my experience. You then also have the Vice City one as well, which you smashed out in a month. And I believe, let me have a look. Yeah, Vice City, oh no, GTA 3. You didn't do the original in GTA 3 either, which I don't blame you. The original Platinum in GTA 3 is miserable. Definitely one of the roughest Platinums I've gone for myself, which is a shame because I do adore GTA 3 as a game. It's just, which makes sense, you know, the game's over 20 years old, but it's aged like it's over 20 years old. Still fantastic game, just very rough. We then get Grim Fandango here, followed by Guns Up. A bit of Heavy Rain. It looks like you've probably just got the 4 million endings left here. We then get some Hitman here with the Hitman 3 Platinum Trophy, which means that if you go for that full 100% there, you'll be able to get these too. But obviously, if you go for the 100% in all of these, Hitman 3's DLC is Hitman 1 and Hitman 2. So you would beat Hitman 1 3 times, Hitman 2 twice, and Hitman 3 once, which is a headache and a half. But I do love to see that you not only have Hitman Absolution here, but you have Hitman Blood Money, which is one of, I think it's probably still my favourite Hitman game. It's absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, we also have Hitman Go thrown in here as a dash of flavour to everyone's favourite Bald Assassin. We then get some Homefront, followed by the sequel, Homefront: The Revolution, which this is the only one I played. I'm very impressed to see that you have this Platinum Trophy at a 1.96. Rarity is very nice to see, but I remember it being super buggy on launch and not very fun. We then get some Horizon here with both Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn. Still not the biggest fan of Horizon Forbidden West. I know it's a running gag that I say it's a shame they never made a sequel to Zero Dawn, so I'm going to say it again. It's a shame they never made a good sequel. We then get some Hustle Kings, and then all of the... Ooh, this is nice to see. This is all of the Infamouses, the full 100%. We have Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Infamous 2's spin-off, Festival of Blood with the vampires. This one's very cool. First Light, and then Second Son here. And we round out the eyes with a little indie horror game that is fantastic. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. It's made, I believe, by the same people who did Limbo, and that is, of course, Inside. It's a great game. And after Inside, we have Journey twice here with the PS4 and PS3 versions. I believe there's also a Vita version, but we just had the PS4 and PS3 versions here. We then get some Just Cause with the Platinums in Just Cause 3 and Just Cause 4, followed by a little bit of Killzone and a little bit of Knack, before we then get into a double stack Platinum here of LA Noire, which is one of my favorite open world games ever. This is definitely one that will be getting a completion review at some point. Obviously, a series that I am still work in progress on, but I am looking forward to releasing the first episode at some point, hopefully very, very soon. We then get some Lara Croft, followed by some Life is Strange, double stack of Limbo, which is no easy feat with the beat the game without dying more than 5 times trophy, so I do love to see this having been achieved twice. I also love seeing the platinum in the 100% in Little Nightmares 1. There isn't a platinum in Little Nightmares 1, but the beat the game without dying in under an hour it's fairly tricky. I do have a video on the channel of me doing that myself, but it is definitely a tricky one, and definitely one that requires a little bit of practice as well. Lollipop Chainsaws 100% I love to see here. Warhearted, are you planning on doing the remaster, the remake of this at some point that has just come out? A tiny little bit of Lords of Fallen, followed by Machinarium, which is a game that I've owned myself for ages, but never actually tried myself. A platinum here that I'm very jealous of is Mad Max. I wish I'd got this before the servers shut, locking that one trophy related to scrap. That definitely hurts, but congratulations, mate. That is a very nice one to see. We then have all of the Mafia Platinums, which is nice to see here, with Mafia 1's remake, followed by the port of Mafia 2, sorry, Mafia 2's launch. These are just the Platinums, no 100%, which I don't blame you. Jimmy's Vendetta, I think it is absolutely awful. And then we round out them with Mafia 3's Platinum. We then get a tiny bit of Magic the Gathering, followed by Man-Eater's Platinum, and I believe a little bit of the DLC there as well. Spider-Man's 100% you love to see. Spider-Man 2 missing the 100%, but I don't blame you. It's literally just New Game Plus. I'm probably going to wait myself until they come out with some story DLCs or something before I tackle it myself. And then you round out the list with Miles Morales. We get a little bit of Mass Effect with Mass Effect 2, some Master Reboot, Max Payne 3, a little bit of Medal of Honor, which is a series I really wish they'd bring back. Medal of Honor Frontline was one of my first-person shooters, and is still one that is very fond to me. We then get quite a few dabbles here, with the Metro dabbles, some Middle of Earth, Minecraft's Platinum on the PS3, which, I mean, it's wild that 29 of 94 trophies equals the Platinum trophy. That is crazy. Some Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I do hope you got the multiplayer trophies prior to servers shutting down. Some Monster Hunter World, some Mortal Kombat, and then our next Platinum is, of course, Murdered Soul Suspect. We then get some NBA Jam on Fire, some Need for Speed Heat, and Need for Speed The Run. The Run was so underrated. The Platinum is unobtainable now, but it was a very unique take on Need for Speed. Way too short. You could beat the game in like 2 hours, but essentially the idea was you were crossing America. I believe you had the Mafia chasing you or something, but you were doing a big race or a big heist for a very large amount of money. And it was good. I love the set piece races in this. I just wish that it had been far longer. We then get a little bit of Never Alone, which is a game I didn't really like, if I'm honest. I played this with my beautiful partner, and we just found the controls a bit clunky, and especially the I believe it's giant rat boss in the DLC was very frustrating. But nevertheless, it's an interesting game. It's an interesting take, and I did like the lore behind it. A little bit of Never Dead, followed by some NHLs. We then get some Nier Autonoma, some Ninja Gaiden, some No Man's Sky, Pool Nation, Port Royal, and then, of course, Warhearted's first Platinum trophy in Portal 2, which was what kickstarted this wonderful hobby that he has now. We then get some Prey, fantastic game, super underrated, same devs as Dishonored. I love Prey. Prey is one I would highly recommend to pretty much anyone to play. We then get some Prince of Persia's here, followed by some prototypes, Puppeteer, a little bit of chess, which is interesting to see, and a little bit of pool as well. You're dabbling in both. We then have the Platinums in both Rage games, which is super cool to see. You don't see the Platinum in the first Rage ever, so that's a nice one to see, especially these days. And then of course Rage 2 was fairly mid to my knowledge, especially having collectibles that can't be tracked on the map and that move. That is a choice. You then have the Platinums in both Red Dead games. I love to see these. These are both very impressive. Remember Me, and then man after my own heart. We got the Resident Evils here. Resident Evil 100%. Resident Evil 2 only missing one trophy. I'm going to assume that's probably Hell of a Sheriff. Resident Evil 3, 4 remake. Both stacks of Resident Evil 5 Platinums. I love to see these. Resident Evil 6, 7 Biohazard, and Village. I would say definitely go off and dabble in some of the ones like the Revelations games, Code Veronica. They are fantastic, but I love to see this series completion right here. This is fantastic, Warhearted. We then have the Resistances with Resistance 1 and Resistance 2. I believe Resistance 2 was the game you earned your first trophy in from memory. So it is cool to see this little bit of your history right here. We then have 2 stacks of Resogun, the 100% in 1, and the second one obviously has quite a lot of DLC that the PS3 stack did not get. But it is nice to see that you were chipping away at this, followed by Rise of the Tomb Raider. The Platinum is cool to see here. This game has a lot of challenge mode trophies and stuff that can be a bit tricky, so it is nice to see that Platinum. That's another one I need to clean up myself at some point. We then get some Rocket League, followed by Rory McIlroy, some Saints Row, Sekiro's 100%. That's interesting. I believe the only Souls games we've seen completed on your list are Bloodborne and Sekiro, which is an interesting combo. I would have expected maybe some Dark Souls, but I assume you probably prefer the more faster gameplay based on this, which is cool as well. We then get some Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Shadows of the Dams Platinum is super nice to see. I do love to see this. A bit of Sekiro, bit of Skate 3, both stacks of Sleeping Dogs. These are fantastic to see. I don't blame you for not doing the side content because they are very mind-numbingly boring from memory. But the actual main story, the Platinum, is fantastic. This is another one that I do plan on doing at some point myself very, very soon. I also love to see Sniper Elite, so I love to see the Platinum in Sniper Elite 3, which is no easy feat with authentic difficulty being fairly hard to exploit, and if you die, you go back to the start of the level. Never forget that mission. I believe it's mission 3, where it's like an hour and a half long, and the end of it is you versus 2 tanks, and both tanks can one-shot kill you. That is very, very difficult, so I do love to see that here, followed by some Sniper Elite 4, equally fantastic, equally good to see. Same with Sniper Elite 5 and Sniper Elite 2. It's definitely a super underrated series here, so I love to see it on your list, mate. Some South Parks, the full 100% in all of the series here. Awesome to see as well, followed by some Splatterhouse, some Split Second, that is a juicy ultra rare trophy there at 4.65%. Some Star Wars here with Fallen Order and Survivor, and a little bit of Battlefront with the single trophy right here, followed by some Stealth Inc., some Stories, The Path of Destinies, Stranded Deep, which I believe that's when it came out on PS Plus, and is pre that exploit where everyone could like auto pop the entire game pretty much. We've got both Styx games here, with Master of Shadows being actually a pretty game 2 Platinum, so I do like to see that completed here. I also really like to see Surviving Mars. This is kind of a colony / city builder that has been on my my watch list for a very long time. Tales of the Borderlands, it's another Telltale game, followed by one of the OG easy Platinum trophies here in Terminator Salvation. Remember when games were easy if they took you like a day to beat? Those were the good days. We then get some The Adventures of Tintin, which I believe is that was a movie, wasn't it? I believe that might have been a movie with Simon Pegg from memory. The Callisto Protocol. That makes me sad to see. You had so much potential, and then you put that combat system in it, and all of the vent crawling. We then get the Darkness 2's Platinum, which is an awesome one to see here. Is the Darkness 1 or the Darkness 2 you can watch an entire movie in? In one of them, you can sit down and watch the entirety of To Kill a Mockingbird, which is kind of really funny. We then have Skyrim twice, followed by a bit of Evil Within and a bit of Golf Club. I think the Golf Club is the one that requires you to earn $1 billion or something, which is an insane amount of money to have to grind to. We then have The House of the Dead 3, which is an on-rail shooter. My good friend John's here in the Discord. Shout out to John's here. I believe he's doing this at the moment as well. We then get The Last of Us with all of the Last of Us completions. That's really cool to see here too, actually. You don't have the PS5 version of The Last of Us Part 2, but you do have the completion all up, which is super cool to see. I love the spread in this account so far, Warhearted. I love seeing some of the PS3 games and the PS4 games, and then a little bit of PS5 in here as well. It is very nice to see, especially things like I can see the Saboteur down here, which is one that I want you to finish this one, Warhearted. If I had any game on this list I wanted you to complete, it's the Saboteur. Get that one done, mate. Super impressive game right here. But not to skip them, the Order 1886. I so wish we got a sequel to this. I love this first game. The Outer Worlds is one I've been meaning to play at some point. It looks very, very good. And The Quarry, of course, is one of the better games from the devs who did Until Dawn. And the Dark Pictures, obviously. We then get an absolute stack of Walking Deads here with the first season twice. I've actually just bought the first season myself, and I do plan on playing it myself at some point here very soon. I haven't really ever played any of these, so I am looking forward to dipping my toes in at some point. But you've got pretty much all of them here, I believe. The Walking Dead, A New Frontier, Michonne Season 2. Season 2 weirdly not having a platinum. I think the final season is Season 3, and then you've got the definitive version that came out a year or two ago. We then have a little bit of The Witcher 3, It Hurts Me to See It So Low, followed by A Wolf Among Us, which is a lot of people's favourite Telltale game. The FIFA remake you've dabbled in, I'm not too surprised to see that not complete. We then get a bit of Tiger Woods, a bit of Titanfall. Both Platinums in The Division is super cool to see here. These are obviously quite difficult, or not really difficult, but quite grindy to do, so it is cool to see them. The first Tomb Raider twice is awesome to see. You spent a lot of time playing with first aid kits in the multiplayer, I see. Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Pro Skater HD, which was the PS3 game that I believe a lot of people weren't massively keen on. I think I might even own this one on PSP. I think it's on the shelf somewhere behind me. We then get a bit of Toy Story, Trials of Blood Dragon, a bit of Trine, and then a massive stack of Uncharted's here with all of them but the Vita. Yeah, okay, all of them but Golden Abyss are here, which is very cool to see. I do love to see all of these platinums. I do love to see the PS3 platinums for Uncharted 2 and 3 as well, because obviously they are no longer obtainable with the multiplayer trophies and the server closures. But this is a fantastic stack right here. I am interested to see Warhearted if you are planning on doing Legacy of Thieves at some point. We then get a bit of Unraveled, followed by Until Dawn, which just got a PS5 remake just in time for Halloween. A tiny bit of Valiant Hearts. This is another one I'd love to see do. It's a very cute art style set in World War One, which is an interesting setting. They also just released a sequel to this year. Highly recommend these. Vampire is a super underrated RPG with kind of Bloodborne style combat. It's developed by the people who did Life is Strange and is significantly better than Life is Strange. The Watch Dogs completions here are super nice to see as well, especially Watch Dogs 2 is an open world game that I genuinely think is fantastic. We get a bit of Wolfenstein here as well with New Colossus dabbled in, and the Platinum in the new order. I'm curious to see if you are doing the old blood at some point, mate. And then we round out this fantastic account with Yakuza 4 and Zombie Driver HD. But that's been the account. Do let me know, of course, what you think of this account. Do let me know if you want your own account looked at on a Plat'n in the comments below, of course. We're back, baby. I know it took about a month off. Work and life balance and stuff has been pretty hectic lately, with my weekends being very limited. But the studio, I guess I would call it, my office, my game room, my mum's basement, whatever you want to call it, is getting set up. The shelves are finally in the background. I love having that in the background there, and I'm back making videos. I've got some fun projects in the works. One big project in the works that will hopefully become a mainstay for the channel. I am looking forward to doing those, the review sort of style videos, which is something I've wanted to do for years and years and years. But I'll leave you here. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Do let me know what your last trophy you popped was. Let me know that in the comments below, so I know you made it this far. You're my favorite. Anyway, I'll see you on the next video. I miss you already. Goodbye.